What's up, everybody? It's Rika Keyblade Master / Angel of John, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a history lesson on Black Adam. Um, Here's the funny thing. I forget the name of the company that had him first before DC got a hold of him, but apparently he was. There were a few deals where he was an ancient Egyptian villain and all this other stuff, and he was a part of the Justice Society of America, basically trying to pretty much become more on the side of a villain rather than as a hero. But then fast forward to modern times when DC Comics had acquired Black Adam from the other company back in 1945, they changed up his character. And now the story got changed up from him being a straight up villain to an anti-hero who basically was ticked because his parents and his family were basically enslaved. And I cannot stress that enough, that I can see where a traumatic experience can pull someone into going double-sided. When I found out so much of Black Adam's history, I'm like, okay, he and I are so not that different, because he was... I was never actually villainous when I was younger, but that is until that fateful tragedy when I was 7 years old, when I tried to convince my uncle not to go somewhere because it was a really bad idea, because I saw something happen. And that's another thing that me and Black Adam have differences on, is he didn't see the enslavement coming, but I saw my uncle's incident coming. I saw the accident as it was going on, and I tried to convince him not to do anything. I tried to convince him not to go near where he was going, or at least let someone go with him. And if he was gonna go. But he told me, he's like, I got it all covered. Well, in my first vision, it happened around noon. It was depicted around noon, and he was on his way to a gas station to get some stuff. But then I talked more to my grandma about it, and she goes, you're not too far off. You're only off by 12 hours. It happened at a bar. And basically, I was like, what? So I had it right, but I was 12 hours off? And she's like, yup. It was pitch black, exactly midnight when it happened. I was like, damn, how in the hell did I get that I got like near, holy crap. She goes, well, let's just say you saw something happen. You knew something was going to happen. But when you tried to tell us, we wouldn't listen. And we went to church that night, and I didn't want to go because it was a really bad idea. I knew something was up. And ever since that day is why I pretty much became half and half. Because the person who caused the accident essentially just got a slap on the wrist and got away with it. And same thing with the incident with Julio, except I didn't have a future vision on that one because I didn't know what was going on at the time, because I wasn't in the special education wing enough to do anything or get to know more about those who were in that wing, because as you know, I was placed in general education, but with a one-on-one assistant. And so that is where I totally missed the mark there. Because if I had been there, I would have tried my hardest to prevent what happened. But since I wasn't in that area that much, in fact, I was rarely in that area. The reason I know him is because, we rode the bus to school together, and I'd always sit behind him, and I'd always talk to him. And he made noises to let me know that he understood what I was saying. And we basically played a few games with each other on the way to school. And it was pretty cool. But then that fateful day happened, and when the school said there was a code blue, I'm like, I should have been there. I could have prevented that, but in a way I couldn't have prevented that because I wasn't in that particular wing for too long. I had one class in that wing, and that was 5th period, and that wasn't enough to tell anything because it was a one-on-one class. Well, 2-on-1 to be precise, because it was me, Mrs. Kane, and Mr. Kane, and Mrs. Kane was completely blind, so her husband helped her with the navigation and stuff, and so there was one time and that's proof that just one little instance can send somebody off and traumatize them for life. And once that happens, there's no going back. But anyway, as far as Black Adam goes, yeah, Black Adam and I are one and the same, as it turns out. Except for the fact that the one incident that pushed him over the edge, he could not see coming. So there was no way he was able to predict what was going to happen. or if there was any way to stop it even before it was happening, or how it could have been prevented. Or at the very least, he could have at least been able to try, even if it was unpreventable. At least he could have gotten the ability to try, but he didn't. Which really sucks. That's not a fault on Black Adam's part. But I'm with Black Adam on the whole anti-hero thing, because I literally have been traumatized by so much that too many instances all at one time could really set a person to basically have an off switch. It's almost like, say a light switch gets stuck or a button gets jammed and they can't unjam it no matter how much they try. And that's another thing me and Black Adam have in common. Even though Black Adam had that one prowess, his switch or button was stuck for good. And same thing with me. My switcher button was stuck for good. And like I said, once it starts, it's like a virus that spreads. It's like a plague. It cannot be stopped. There's no way for anyone to cure anybody of the trauma that they are stuck with, no matter what they try. That is one of the reasons why I wind up with severe PTSD every time something bad happens, like my needleophobia, for instance. Hey, when you had 17 or 18 needles stuck in you, like a pincushion, all at once, yikes. That is a mess. But regardless, I basically, everything that happens, like every time, I'm not exactly epileptic, but I'm on seizure medication because of an attack in 2015, and I've been on it since. You guys should have seen me. I looked like a zombie. I'm not even gonna lie. And it just wasn't easy for me to pretty much handle anything. Because my reaction speeds were taken away. 2, I was completely zombified. I couldn't figure out, like, if someone threw something at me, like a small piece of plastic or, just anything that's kind of soft and not exactly feelable. Oh boy. I didn't even have the time to react. It just happened and it just bounced right off me. And that is unless you get hit with a really hard object, which spirals you again. And which could dangerously spiral you again. It's not even funny. I was like that for over a month till I got used to the meds. Because they started me on a half dose, meaning breaking the thing in half and then going for. And then I was still having seizures, but then they upped it. So instead of doing half and half, I had to do the whole thing. And as things got, by the time I turned, it was the week before I turned 26, I started to realize a lot of my PTSD attacks were coming back. So they put me on a PTSD medication. And it's sort of working, but not as much as I would hope. Because I'm still, you would think, people say, just because you got poked with needles so much, you should be used to it by now, but what they don't realize is I'm a person with compromised veins, meaning my veins are much smaller. In fact, that's how a lot of the members of my family are too. Like, it's difficult to find a vein and difficult to do the needle without splitting my vein, like the incident that happened back in 2016 with the contrast. And let's just say the person who did the contrast injection, they must not have really known what they were doing. And so let's just put it this way, like, even if you don't have to suffer more traumatic experiences, even just one could set you off for the rest of your life. Even just one could set you off for the rest of your life, and depending on how bad it was, like I said, the button or switch is stuck and impossible to get unstuck. But I'm getting a better hang of it now, but that doesn't mean that, because due to my photographic and eidetic memory, that doesn't mean I can let it go so flippin' easily. And it's not really that simple if you have the brain of a computer chip. Now, if it was like a program that could erase everything, but that could be way too risky because I would lose all of my memory. Essentially, a perpetual amnesiac, what usually is the result that happens to me after I wind up out of any kind of surgery. I'm a perpetual amnesiac for at least a couple of weeks, sometimes a month. And with the thing in the back of my neck, the doctors told me that there's a chance that I could slowly lose my memory little by little and basically become a perpetual amnesiac. But it's too risky to get removed because there's a 50-50 chance of paralyzation or lost existence. And so, yeah, I'm unfortunately stuck dealing with it. But I am unfortunately stuck dealing with my shunt too, which makes it so difficult because of having bad migraines because of my shunt. And you get them anyway. So it's like, I can't win for losing. I can't win for losing. At all. And it's just really annoying. Because you're used to it, but at the other hand, you shouldn't have to be used to it. If you get my drift. I mean, it's ridiculous. But yeah, basically the moral of the story is there are many similarities between me and Black Adam, and the lesson is a lot of people think that most traumatizations can be cured / erased. But the bad thing is erasing things, like completely deleting even one thing can be drastically risky because you could turn to amnesia. I'm not even kidding. It's like, it's really weird. It's really weird. Like, I can't even figure out what happens with a lot of this. Like, 1 minute you're just trying to cope with being stuck the way you are, and then the next minute it drives you extremely crazy. Like, it drives you up the wall. But like I said, not every traumatization, if any at all, can actually be cured. As far as any phobias that might come with the trauma in the first place. So, like me, I'm not just scared of needles just because I'm scared of them, just because I don't like them. No, my skin is virtually paper, pretty much, because I bruise easy, and my veins are extremely compromised. I can't believe how, which is why I can't believe how people say, like I said earlier, shoot, you know, it's like say you've got vertigo. You literally have a severe fear of heights, and I've known many people like that. Like, I'm not even allowed to go up any heights anymore because of what my doctor told me, but just, because of my shunt and everything. But, like, say, trying to climb one of those rock climbing walls. Oh, boy. One wrong move, and holy crap. And that's, like, a mess. In fact, I couldn't even climb the wall in gym class because freaking every time I try to go and put my foot on a rock, some of the rocks just fall right out of the holes, and it's like you're reusing the same rock climbing wall all over again when you really should either patch it up or just get it replaced. And I remember one year that rock climbing wall in elementary school caused so many injuries because of the rocks falling out of the holes. And of course, we didn't have to reach for a bell or anything, but we just had to get to the top of the wall and then try to get back down. But, I mean, yikes. Doing it on a wall that's been there for ages without even being patched up or tended to, just yikes. So many of my classmates, I remember, ended up with a lot of injuries because of that. And I'm surprised that nobody got sued for that, because that was a bad freaking idea. That was a horrible idea. It put a lot of kids in danger, and they should have paid the price. My little nephew goes to Bluff, but hopefully by now they have, if they do still do the rock climbing thing, hopefully by now they have learned their lesson and had an upgraded basis. I get that there's not much funding, but if it's super dangerous, then why not just take it out? That's what the janitor said when he went into the gym. That's what the janitor said when he went to look at it. So I don't know if they upgraded it or not. I'll have to hopefully get in touch with somebody and ask. Hopefully. But anyway, guys, this has been Angel the Dawn / Riku Keyblade Master. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, like, share, comment, and subscribe to become a Keyblade wielder. And we can get multiple deals going on and multiple discussions started. And here's my question to you. In terms of Black Adam, how do you find yourself winding up with a similar basis? And are there any experiences that you have in common with me or Black Adam that you went through and it just didn't really, to this day, it still haunts you like a ghost that just won't leave your darn shoulder? And we'll continue things further. Let's see what we come up with. I'll see you guys next time. stay awesome as usual, and please be safe. I cannot stress that enough, especially with the plunging temperatures right now.